So, how are you doing? So nice to be here with you, to see you, to finally talk to you again.
I know. Thank you so much. I know we've had to reschedule because life has just been throwing us all kinds of curveballs. And then, as I mentioned to you yesterday, I was like afraid I was going to wake up with this swollen
Oh,
because I got my tooth pulled out. And so I was like, man, am I going to be able to have my camera on? But luckily I'm doing fine. So I'm glad this
oh,
all worked out. Yeah.
yes, yes, and it's so nice. Yes, I'm happy you're doing very well. And I was thinking before because I'm here a little bit in the dark because for me
I
it's
know.
already evening and you are in the morning, and it's
Yeah.
so incredible to be able to meet like this, to have a conversation like this, and just being in one space, no matter where we are or what time it is for us, as soon as we are able to make it. But because of night and day, no morning, but it's
I
so
love it.
beautiful. It's so beautiful, and I'm very, very grateful for you to be here, also with you. That you are not able to see anything, I am not able to see anything, but with your, it's
Oh, yeah.
from yesterday, so it must hurt a little bit.
You starting off with that comment about the light and the dark is super interesting to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it resonates with where I am in my life right now,
Mm-hmm.
and just things that are going on. So it's very interesting, when you're in these kind of places of reflection, when people say things that just you're like, wow, how did she know? I mean, how did she know, right? It's just one of those things. Like even just this morning. I was about to post something on LinkedIn with this beautiful sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And with just, I was trying to figure out for like a long time, like, what did I want to say with that picture? And I was finally getting down to something and then I just deleted it. I was like, I'm not ready to put that message out there right now. But it was like about finding the light in the
Mm-hmm.
darkness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Well,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I love that. I love the coincidences, no, or the well, how yes, how life connects us,
mhm,
and we come here together in the same space, not being in the physical in the same space, but being in the
mhm,
same space. So and it's so beautiful, like you were saying before, to see how life intermingles or
mhm.
entangles, no, for by us getting together and being in one space here, having the time to be present and to share from the heart. um, Two
Yeah.
beautiful beings.
Thank you for inviting me to be here and give me for sharing your energy and your space and your time with me. And I love that I can see the word love right behind you
Yes.
in there. That's beautiful. I love that. We all need more love in our lives. I know I definitely do. So thank you for reminding me that I need to give myself some love. That's what I'm feeling for this weekend is
Hmm.
self-love is a priority for me this weekend.
Yes, yes. It's so important to take the time for ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to
Yeah.
love ourselves, no? Nurture through the love that we give to ourselves with the time, the space, the energy,
Hmm.
and beingness, no? And not the rushing, not the stressing, not the having to, the must-haves, because those things don't take us anywhere. At the end, they deplete us, no?
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I started doing a lot of like nature walks,
Mm-hmm.
when the pandemic started and I was homeschooling my son. And so I was like, I realized right away that I needed to start taking better care of myself because, we can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Yes,
And so
yes.
I started doing like 15,000 steps
Mm-hmm.
every day. And I did that all the way up until about like a few months ago, they opened up a spin cycle class. So I'm like, okay, I want to start doing that now. And so I do that 3 times a week. But I'm going to go back to the 15,000 steps on the days that I'm not doing that because I've noticed like once I stopped doing that, that there was a difference inside of
Mm-hmm.
me, that I'm like,
Mm.
oh, okay, I'm more anxious. My creativity isn't as great as it was when I was doing walking. Just my stress levels, all of that stuff. So I still love doing the spin class, but it's funny how like as the seasons change, right?
Yes.
Like what we need in loving and giving ourselves that self-love changes too, and you got to pay attention to that, right? And,
Yes.
and yeah, and I just realized like I was sitting there a couple days ago and I was like, I haven't been walking as much as I used to, and I'm feeling a lot more stressed out. Like that I need to get
Mm-hmm.
back to doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially when life is throwing like, it's a crazy world. It's a really, really crazy world right now. And that's where I think you need to do more of that, figuring out what works for you and then doing more of that, not less of that, which is what I think most of us tend to do the opposite, right? We're busy, we're stressed out, let's do less of the self-care. And it's you have to double down when you're feeling it even more, right? So this weekend,
Yes.
what it's all about.
Yes. It's also contra. How do you say that? Contraproducing? No, that's a Spanish English word. It's like when you take less time, when you do less the walking, for instance,
Mhm.
you are, like you were saying at the end, less creative because you are less in yourself,
Yes.
and so you're taking time away from that, from what gives you the energy to be resilient, to have more creativity, to everything else, just because this everything else is you think it's taking time out of, well, it's taking time away of this walking, no? And in reality, um, the walking is what gives you the time and the space to do everything else, no? The creativity and to really walk into your path by
Mhm.
being centered in yourself, by being self-loving you because you're taking time for yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, and I mean you could just feel the peace. Because 15,000 steps, that's no joke,
No,
right?
no,
That's
it's a lot.
that's like a good two
I
hour,
don't
two
know
and
how
a half
much was
hours,
it.
2.5 to 3 hours a day I was doing.
Yeah,
And
wow.
and that is a lot of time you're spending with
Yeah,
yourself.
yes.
And it's most people don't even, when you tell people like meditate and they're like, I don't even have, 15 minutes or
Yeah.
20 minutes. And so I was giving myself 2.5, 3 hours a day. And when I first started doing it, I'm like, how am I going to fit this and you just kind of blend it in with everything else that you're doing. And I just realized like I needed that time,
Hmm.
I love the spin because it helps me take my physical fitness to a next level. So it gives me
Yeah.
that challenge. But the walking, I'm definitely bringing back into my, at least on the days that I don't do the spin, right? Is try
The,
to hit steps
the,
because I need that inward.
yeah, it's the inward
Definitely.
thing. It's the
Yeah.
inward thing, no? Because
Yeah.
spinning, when you're spinning, in reality, you're with the music and everything that you're rushing your body,
Yes.
but you're not looking inward.
That's
You're,
right.
you're, it's for me, I take 4 days a week, I swim, and it
Yeah.
takes me 2 hours. Not that whole time the swimming, but going to the swimming pool, swimming, showering, and so 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I swim 1 hour, 1 hour and 10 minutes, 1 hour.
Yeah.
And it's really, like you were saying, for me, the swimming is because I'm looking inward and I'm centered because I'm looking into the technique. I'm there. I'm not thinking of other things. I'm not
Yes.
listening to other things. I'm really in me. And I've seen that that gives me a lot of energy and especially it centers me
Mhm.
to be able throughout the day to tackle anything, no? Because I'm centered.
That's it. Yeah. And then being in nature too, right? Like
Mm-hmm. Oof.
the groundingness for me is it's like you feel grounded. And it's all about there's so many different ways that you can find that time. Like last year I started painting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never really been a painter. I've never seen
Uh-huh.
some of those like the number things where you get the, the paint
Uh-huh.
colors
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
the numbers. And that was a great time. And I was like, oh, I really actually am enjoying this. And I was like, wow. And so always looking at like different ways to, like you said, just kind of stop,
Yeah.
feel grounded, feel connected to yourself, right? And explore. And that's the fun part
Mm-hmm.
too. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
painting allowed me an outlet to be creative,
Yes.
which again, like in our day, I think we need to build some of that time in is to play and that's why I love like spending time with my son is that when he's here, because he's with his dad half the time and half the time with me, it's like I get that playtime. I
Mm-hmm.
get to like, put everything else aside and turn the brain off and just be present with him. But yeah, I was talking to a girlfriend, it was like 2 days ago, and she's kind of supporting one of her friends who's battling with cancer right now. And she was telling me how her friend has all kinds of energy. Like she just
Mm-hmm.
constantly wants to do things. And in my head, I'm thinking, God, that would be the opposite with
Yeah.
someone who's got like, at this, it's like stage 4. But then when she was telling me, she's like, she's just got all this energy. She wants to do it all. And when I left that conversation, I was thinking about it later on and I'm like, wow, that's just like she has dug deep and found that courage and that strength, even with everything else that's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And created, and so she's doing all kinds of creative things. She wants to travel, and so my girlfriend's like, I'm just going with the flow, whatever
Yeah,
she wants
nice.
to do. If I could be there for her, if I can be her partner in crime, and so it was really, really nice to hear that, like, you can make time for it no matter what's going on in your life if you want to, right? If you want to
Mm-hmm.
prioritize it, right? So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like everything is willingness,
mm,
no? Because there are so many things that also take effort for us, for instance, to change mindset, attitude, routines, so many things, it's effort. So
mm,
there's a need for willingness to change to what we want. And and I've seen these days, I've talked a lot about willingness to with friends and my mom and so, because there's a lot of accommodation
mm,
or saying, it takes me too much effort. I don't like to do those things, even if it's for your health. It's
yeah.
no, 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 that's too complicated for me. But it's at the end, it's a mindset. So it's really willingness to change it, because once you change something, you change the perception of it, and the routine changes or whatever. So it doesn't become, there's no effort anymore.
Mm,
But the willingness has to be there to continue until one day it's natural in you.
mm,
No? So willingness is something that I think nowadays is very important, because also in what we are fed with
mm,
has to do a lot with not having to take effort. Like, but you see, smartphones, we are used to smartphones today. And so the calculator and everything is in there. And the notebook, the contacts. I remember when I was younger, no, I remembered the phone numbers of my friends. So many things, no, there are the number plates. Well, I always play with the number plates, but still, I love the numbers. But nowadays, no one has those things in their mind, no,
no.
because it's easy.
Mm,
So, and I think because it, it's it's fed into us to just to let yourself go and not
mm,
be willing to take an effort and maintain certain things in you.
yeah.
No? So health is one thing. You have to take an effort, but then really it's so worth, no? Because if we don't have health, we don't have
Mhm,
life.
mhm. It's true.
If we are not here, we are not here at the end.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I know like in my life, like I've always tried to make my health a priority, but
Mm-hmm.
I've also been the one to abuse it the most.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, I've
Yeah, me
also been
too.
the one that hasn't taken the best care of it. I've tried,
Mm,
I've always had the intention, I've always worked out, I've always tried to eat healthy, but there were times in my life where, I didn't care, or I just abused it,
mm-hmm.
and now when I like look at my future and like just the changes that I've made as I'm kind of getting older and I just turned 50, so I'm like, okay, what are the next 50 years of my life going to look like? And I know I definitely don't want to be that person where someone has to take care of me,
Yes,
and
yes.
I just it's really hard for me to well, first of all, I've just never had anybody take care of me like physically like
Mm,
that, and so it would be really hard for me to let someone or be dependent on somebody in that way. But that's just not the vision I have, right? And so
yeah.
if I don't want that, what are the things that I'm willing, like you said, willing to do, because we can't control everything,
No,
like
no, we cannot control.
we can
No,
control everything. And so you
no.
can't you can't just, like my mom, for example, whenever I talk to her about health, she's like, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So what difference does it make, right? That's not
Mm, mm-mm.
the kind of mindset that I have,
No.
I believe there are things that I can control and I can learn from what I've done in the past and how it's impacted me. And then I can just do my best right now to do, so that I don't get those outcomes. So it's almost like starting backwards,
Mm-hmm.
figuring out, okay, what are the things you don't want? Like for me, I don't want to be bedridden. I don't want to be not, mobile. I need to be active. So if you once you figure out like what you want, which I think most of us want similar things at towards the end of our life, then you have
Yes.
to go backwards and say, in order for me to get that, what am I willing to do? Because it's not going to just happen unless
No.
you put in the effort. And that, especially, you have to put more effort in. As you can't do less effort when your body wants you to put in less effort. So you're going to be fighting that resistance automatically where you're like, I just rather just sit around and do nothing for the next like 2 days. Right. But I know that what's good for me is getting out and walking because of all the
Mm-hmm.
things we've already talked about. And then, it's going to help me get closer to that goal of what I want towards the end, in the end of my life. So, but it isn't easy, and you really have to, I don't know, like, uh, sometimes you're just like, some days you may not want to, and that's okay too, right? And that's
Yes,
okay to give
yes.
yourself that break. You
Yeah.
don't have to be gung ho, like, Energizer Bunny all the time because it is a lot. But always like, get back up, get back in it as soon as you can, right? And
Yes.
and go in that direction. Don't go too far off
Mm-hmm.
the
Extremes are
path that
not
you
good.
want to.
Extremes
Yeah.
are not good. I've been in extremes. I've been in the extreme. I remember 20 years ago. I've been in the extreme of waking up every morning, 5 a.m., spinning in New York, 5 a.m., and not eating nothing that would be bad or something. I did
Mhm.
it for many years, some years, but there was an extreme because the day I didn't do it, I didn't feel good.
Mhm.
No? And then there is the other extreme of not doing anything. So it's like you're saying, we have to be willing to take care of ourselves, but not extreme. So if one day or many days or the day you don't feel okay to go because you know your body. So if it's I'm swim and then swimming the water sometimes cold. So
Mhm.
if I feel one morning or night before, "Oof, I'm not so feeling so well.
Mhm.
I'm very cold, so I don't go, and it's totally okay. No,
Right.
so it's this balance in life. Everything is about balance and harmony.
Mhm.
No, so also the light and the darkness, the balance, the harmony. We
Mhm.
all have the light and the dark inside, and I'm just I love it because I'm just seeing you and me. We have green today. You
Yeah,
have a light background, I have a dark one,
I
and
know.
it's and it's so beautiful.
I know. I know. I've been watching that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Balance and harmony, those are really beautiful concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm curious, how do you define harmony?
Harmony is being in peace.
Mhm.
It's has to do, for me, it has to do a lot with being.
Mhm.
No, so really being in this balance, but it's being in the middle, no,
Mhm.
swimming there in the middle, being, feeling, being peace, calm, being you, being in freedom,
Mhm.
um, not feeling pushed, not pushing. So it's really this middle point where, like a boat in an ocean, when it's
Mhm.
everything is calm, and it's the boat that it's between the sky and the ocean, and it's there, moving, it's balancing in harmony in
Mhm.
this space with this peace, chuk, chuk,
Mhm.
chuk, chuk. That's for me harmony.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the purpose of our call today.
Mm-hmm.
Was it right there, harmony? Yeah, because every year I go through this exercise, and I'm going through it right now where I pick an intention for the next year. I pick a
Mm-hmm.
word, one word,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been going. This year my word was surrender, and it is
Mm-hmm.
really crazy of just how much I am surrendering right now. It's I'm going to get emotional. It is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And I didn't realize when I set that intention that it meant everything.
Everything.
Everything's got to go. And that's not in a
No,
not in
no.
a bad way, not in a
Mm-mm.
bad way. It's necessary, for
Mm-hmm.
the next stage of my life. But I didn't realize it was gonna just this last month of all the things that I've just decided that it's time to let this go. It's time to let this go, and it's time to let this go. And some things that have I've had to surrender. It wasn't even my choice,
Yeah.
but I had to let it go, and I'm in that process right now. But so I was thinking about my word for next year, and I've literally been thinking about this for like the last 3 months, like, because of my birthday, before my birthday, I started thinking about my birthday. And so like right around like October, I start this process.
Mm-hmm.
And the word that I'm going back and forth on was where I'd landed before our conversation today was receive, receive.
I see.
I just feel like I've given so much in my life. I
Mm-hmm.
keep giving and I keep giving, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
exhausted.
Yeah.
And so I just want to receive, but that just wasn't feeling right to me because it just wasn't something about it, it just kind of made it feel like I'm entitled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a victim. I don't know. I haven't pinpointed.
Yeah.
I'm still going to be reflecting a lot on why that word isn't just the right one. But as soon as you said harmony, and that's why I asked you, I was like, that's more with where I'm at.
Yeah.
That's
And it
that's that's more with where I'm at right now, where I want to go, where I want to
beautiful.
be, right? Like you
Yes.
said, where you want to be, and
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping me.
No.
It just as soon as you said it, I was like, yes, that's where I want to focus on for 2025 is being
Mm.
in harmony, right?
Yes, I love it because I use it. I use it. I'm creating a program and I'm using it, the word harmony. I'm using it in the giving and receiving
Hmm.
because we have to learn to be in harmony in the giving and in the receiving because usually we are, as we service others, we are givers.
Hmm.
And we give and give and give, and we deplete ourselves of this
Hmm.
giving because
Yeah.
many times num, number one, sometimes we don't know how to receive, and number two, sometimes we really don't receive back. no?
Yeah.
Especially because when we are serving others, and it's part of our, um, we wanted to make it a business also, so to balance our lives and to have a revenue out of it. Since we are givers, we don't know how to value the receiving, and people don't value the receiving because we
Mhm.
don't value our giving because it's so natural in us. So I
Mhm.
use this word harmony
Mhm.
in this space of giving and receiving, because we have to, it's part of us to learn to be in harmony, in balance with those
Yes.
two things, to know where to set our boundaries, to know where we are giving too much, where we are receiving too less, or too much also, and where we are being depleted also because people are pushing us in our giving, no? So
Yeah.
taking advantage of us, no?
That's it.
So
That.
the harmony is really for us to be in a space where we are giving and receiving in balance,
Mhm.
in this, I call it the spiral of positive impact, because it's like the yin and yang.
Mhm.
It has to be the same amount of even in receiving. And when we are in this middle, we are in harmony. And this is co-creation,
Mhm.
because co-creation is this harmony of giving and receiving, is this balance, because I'm in wholeness, I'm complete, you are complete, and you and I are giving and receiving, and for
Mhm.
instance in this conversation, with the same wholehearted heart, which is nurturing us,
Mhm.
and we are growing with it, but because there's a harmony in the giving and in the receiving.
Mhm. Yeah. That's it. That's my word for
I love it.
2024.
I'm so happy. I'm so
Yeah.
happy could receive.
I've been doing a lot of meditating on that word, like what the word is. I've
Mm-hmm.
been reflecting on it. I've been writing about it, and that's it. That's the word. As soon as you said it, it's just like that when you just feel it, and you're like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know it.
because receiving would just wasn't. It wasn't. You know, it, that to me was feeling like I have to give away parts of who I naturally
Yeah,
am.
yeah,
And I'm a natural giver,
yeah.
and I want to continue to do that, but I need to change. I need to do things differently because I'm done. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
exhausted and
Mm-hmm.
it's not feeling like reciprocated,
Yeah,
at the point in my life. And that's both in personal and business,
yeah.
Like I'm all of a sudden just the download where I'm like, okay, I don't want to do my train extra stuff anymore. I just don't want to do that anymore. It's something I was passionate about. I still am. And obviously I'll keep doing it until I figure out what I want to do next. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to, I'm done public speaking. I'm done
Mm-hmm.
training. I don't want to talk anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that way. I think it's like there's also a part of me that I'm a fixer. I'm a giver and I'm a fixer. I like to fix things. I'm also an empath, and
Mm-hmm.
so you put all these things together, they work really well in what I'm doing, but they just take everything out of me,
Yeah, yeah.
and I've been adding in things that fill up my cup, but it's getting to the point where I'm like, if I keep talking about these things and I keep doing these things, it's just what I'm going to attract. I'm going to attract more uncivil behavior, more
Mm-hmm.
disrespectful behavior. I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
talking more about, I'm going to be attracting, and I don't want to attract those things in my life
No.
anymore. I want to let all of that go, which is hard because my business is
Yes.
my baby.
Yeah.
I just had my 7 year anniversary. And so it's like,
Wow.
God, I'm letting my baby go. And, you know, um, but I'm not feeling that passion anymore. I need to do something where I'm attracting more of, harmony,
Mm-hmm.
where it's feeling more, like I'm giving and I'm getting, and there's balance and there's just peace.
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep having conversations around people and all the things they're doing and why they're doing them and how do we help them. And I've done that, I've done that my whole life as a lawyer, as a business, as what I do with Train Extra and fixing things and yeah, and I'm just tired of fixing now. I need to fix
Mhm.
myself. Let's just say
Mhm.
I need to do more of um fixing myself and figuring out like how to get to harmony, right? So that's what
Yes.
I'm gonna be doing in 2025. Yay.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's
Scary,
yeah, scary, but
very scary.
every change is always scary because we don't know what's coming. But when you know,
I know.
then
Yeah,
you know.
I
So
know.
it's the change that is for you there
Mhm.
to walk your new path, whatever it is, because it will
I
be
don't know what it
amazing. It will
is.
be amazing because you are amazing. So it will be
It's scary
amazing.
when you don't know, Jeanette. Like, how do
But you have to.
I just literally just had this download like in the last week.
Mhm.
You're actually the first person publicly, that I'm telling this to. I've told a couple of my close girlfriends because they know what's going on in my life. But you know, when you just know. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm done. I'm done. I've served. I've served.
Yes.
I've done it, and it's time to find something that is going to bring more less resistance, less advocacy, less influence, less persuasion, less getting the buy-in. I have a lot of different skills, and I want to do something that's not as emotionally taxing or
Mm-hmm.
requiring. I'm just getting exhausted.
Yeah.
It's depleting. It's there's days where I'm like I'm taking 10 steps forward and then I'm like in another meeting and I'm like, oh my, it's just like I'm
Yeah.
kind of and when you're an empath, you take on everybody else's
Yes. Mm-hmm.
stories, and you do this all the time with these conversations, right? You're getting
Totally.
into my story right now and you're taking on my energy, my emotion, and you know how draining and tiring and exhausting that can be. That's not to say I don't ever like to do that, right? Like there are times where I'm really enjoying our conversation but it's by choice, and my business has been by choice too, because I've tried to like put the boundaries on it, but I think it's time to just let it go,
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
okay, I want to attract something different type of energy now, a more loving energy, a more feminine energy, a more
Mm-hmm.
nurturing energy. I just I don't want to be in such a male dominated space
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
anymore. I just kind of I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. Figure it
Yeah.
out.
And I will come. And if you
It'll just
picture,
come. Yeah.
yeah, it will come because when you are in harmony, you align to that. One thing that has the picture of the boat with the ocean and the blue sky and the calmness has another thing, and that's freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom in the flowing, in the being, in the moment, not knowing where it's going, but in harmony with whatever comes, because you are centered, you're okay, and you're just floating in the freedom. And the freedom for me is this being who you are and creating what you love, whatever it is. This is our purpose. It's this calmness, harmony, flowing, and just um, going with it. And it comes.
Mhm.
It You already have the intention. You have everything. So it's really and you are listening to yourself. You're hearing yourself, and you are knowing. So you know it. It comes, and you will take it. Whatever you will respond to it, and it will show you the way.
Yeah, and the word freedom was on the list. That
Mm-hmm.
was the word that was there. And I actually just did the medication, and I was like, sometimes you feel trapped.
Yeah.
in everything, because again, you have to pay the bills. I wish I could just curl up in a ball in my bed and not move for the next year and
Mm.
figure this out. But unfortunately, I don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
I'm a single mom. I'm the provider of my family. So it's not like I can just let go
Yeah.
and ignore the realities of life. And so freedom was something that I was like, well, that's what I really want. I just want freedom. And then I started looking at like everything, and I'm like, that's not the right word, because I actually have freedom. And there was arguably a couple of things that would maybe not allow me to have as much freedom, and the universe has removed those
Mm-hmm.
without me even ever wanting or choosing that or asking for it. It's just taking it out of the picture for now.
Yeah.
And I just keep telling myself it's not permanent, it's temporary, because
Yeah.
I don't want to lose those things. But um, but it's
Something better will come.
yeah,
Something
and
better comes
I
because in
yeah,
our mind we're used to many things and we're attached to many things
yeah.
um, because we don't know what's coming.
Hmm.
But when you are flowing in this freedom, in this harmony, and things come to you, and you then look back and said, now I understand. Now I see why I had to let go of certain things, because this is much greater than what I have ever thought, because my mind doesn't know where it's going, where I'm going, where life takes me, with me flowing, loving myself and in my balance, in my harmony, in my inner response.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
I'd be curious to know kind of what was your journey to harmony? Because it sounds like you have found it, you're living it, you're talking about it, you're breathing it. I can feel it from you during this conversation.
Mhm.
I would love to hear about what your journey was to
With
get there.
yeah, for harmony, it's because I had a community, the Positive Impact Movement community. Now it's the movement without community. But I've always been like you, a giver, always serving others. Personally, I've been in emotional control relationship, the giver, the giver, the giver, and then with my project also I was giving, but in the positive impact movement, in the PI Move community, I I was having I was there serving and giving and giving and giving and giving. I was seeing how my members, they were learning from me. They were applying those things in their projects, but there was no feedback into the
Mhm.
community. And in reality, I was successful because what I was teaching was working, and they were applying it, but I wasn't successful in the way that I wasn't receiving.
Mhm.
So I felt depleted, and I felt um, I had to. It's what gave me this understanding of the harmony, of the spiral of the positive impact, that it has to be equal, not more, not less, but
Mhm.
equal. And through the positive impact movement, through the community PI Move, I also learned about co-creation, so many things. So really, PI Move gave me many things that today I'm applying in my life.
Mhm.
And also at work, I'm also with you. I've just had on the 31st of October, my 7-year anniversary.
Mhm.
And I'm also thinking of, and not thinking, it's my intention to do a change early
Mhm.
next year, and jumping into the unknown. And I've seen how that is bringing me lots of insights, and
Mhm.
which I'm responding to, and I'm seeing how things are forming
Mhm.
for me to work on them based on what I love to do, of what I love to create, and based on who I am with these conversations, with the co-creation part. So
beautiful.
yes, and that's why I'm in harmony and learning to be in harmony like you. I'm learning, but it's what for me I feel, and I am applying in my day today.
It's always, it's a process. It's an ongoing.
Yes.
It's sometimes I feel like in my mind, like when I get to that point, can I just stay at that point where I feel that inner peace, and that's just not how life is. Life's going to throw you lemons all the time, and you
Yeah.
just have to, figure out how to make lemonade out of those. Right? I love your story too, because like that was the question I asked myself after I'm just like, and this is completely so like, mind you, like the last 3 months I've spent I'm going to go hardcore on Train Extra starting January. I've got like the automations, I've got hubs, I've got CRMs. Here's my strategy. Here's what I'm ready to just hit it 100%. And then all of a sudden I'm like, full stop. No, I'll keep doing it because I have to pay the bills until I figure out what I want to do. But instead of putting all that extra effort that I was going to put on my business, use that on figuring out what it is that what I want to do next,
Yeah.
So I've loved what I've done. So it's not like I didn't enjoy it and I wasn't
No.
passionate about it. I've made a positive difference. I feel really, really good about it. It's just time for a change. And
Yes.
it's time, when I made that change. And isn't there something I was when you were talking, I just thought of that when you said you hit your 7-year mark. Isn't there something that there's around that number, 7 years, right? Like there's something that goes on in our bodies, in our minds, in our soul. I mean, it's that number 7. And when I think about relationships that I've had, I haven't made it past the only relationship that I've had that's made it, obviously with parents when you were growing up and things like that, but like career-wise, I've never made it past anything for more than 7 years. And most relationships outside of family relationships haven't made it past the 7-year mark. Like at that point, I'm like, okay, I've tried this, here's where we are. And for whatever reason, it could be any reasons, we're just not aligned on the same energy at that point, and the decision is made, right? And so it's very interesting that you just had your 7-year and I just had my 7-year, and we're both kind of like, yeah, we're kind of done with this now. We're kind of ready for something different. And we're both doing something where we don't know what that is. I don't have a clue. So the first question I asked myself was, well, what do you like to do? Like, what do you want to do? And my mind is blank.
Yeah, because it's not for your mind to know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trust here.
Mm.
And that's why it's so important you're walking now, because what we try, whenever I've seen that also in all these years now, also with the entrepreneurship and all, every time I put my mind, things don't work, because I'm thinking of, I'm
Yeah.
doing, and then I hit the wall and I have to go back wherever it is.
Mhm.
So I've learned to be patient. Many times we don't know what to do or what to create, but we know where we are, it's not right anymore, because we have learned everything we had to learn. For me, that's what I am now, and I'm learned to self-value me, which I didn't before, and so many things that now I've already what I did. It's okay. It's ending because it's okay, because I already, to do it again, to continue would be to repeat, and I'm here to grow in my life, no? So this is not growing me anymore. But what to do, it comes. And that's the where we always have the issue. No, what must I do? What's I have to figure it out. No. Be calm, read books. I read not because of, also for information, but books can give me information or so, but I take in whatever is for me to take in. But many times when I'm reading, I'm not in my mind, and then the intuition kicks in of totally something else that I'm not even reading. It's not about the topic of the book. It's because I'm not there in my mind, and I have an idea that then I respond to it and I act upon that. And it
Yeah,
opens me doors.
that's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works. And that, like, the doors are, that's the thing. I'm scared
Yeah.
because I don't know, but I do trust myself. I trust the universe.
Yes.
And sometimes this has happened to me before, where the universe just forces me to
Yes.
face, like, I'm not ready for this, like I had a completely different plan in my mind of just let's go. I'm in the zone, and the universe just is like,
Yeah.
no, no,
Yeah.
you're done. You're
Yeah.
done with that. You've done enough of that. It's like you said, it's time to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay if I don't know. I don't need to know the answers. I'll
No.
figure it out. It'll come to me. One thing you said that really, I love what you said, and you're giving me a lot to think about. So thank you so much for this
Love you. Thank
conversation. I'm feeling loved and supported right now. But something you said was really, really important, and I'm going to think about that when I go walking today later on. Is that you've learned what you've needed to learn, and that's what I've been asking myself that question is what am I supposed to be learning from what is happening in my life right now? And I don't know, but I know I've learned.
you. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I've learned yet. I just
Mm-hmm.
I just know it was that clear that I'm done
Yeah.
with Dream Extra. It's like there was no like somebody could be looking from the outside in and they're like, you're having a meltdown. This is exactly what you call a midlife crisis. Like, what are you doing? You just turned 50. All this stuff is going on and you're making these big decisions. It doesn't, don't make any decisions. I could see it from the outside in. It looks that way, but it is a lot of these things have obviously played a factor
Mm-hmm.
in this, but I'm calm
Mm-hmm.
side with this decision. Like I'm 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 done with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you
So
know,
I just know. I just
you know,
know.
and
I don't know what I've learned, and
yeah.
I'm gonna think about all this stuff. I'm not gonna like shut my door tomorrow,
No,
but
no,
it's
no.
but it's about
Same.
continuing to talk about it and
Mm-hmm.
like having the conversation about I don't know. I just know I need to do something different. And that alone will start attracting and manifesting and doing all of of the law of attraction, right? Of
Yes.
what am I, and that's kind of the whole reason behind all of this is like I
Yes.
want a different kind of energy that's surrounding me. I've been surrounded. There's a lot of reasons why I chose to do civility and
Mm-hmm.
creating more respect in the workplace. There's lots of reasons, right? Like I can go all the way back to childhood about it made all the sense when I made the decision. And it was a great calling for me. But now when my life has shifted and when I'm looking forward, it's not what I want to continue to surround
Mm-hmm.
myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, don't rush yourself too. That's the
No,
one
don't
thing,
rush.
be patient. Like you said, is be patient with yourself. You don't
And
need to have all
trust.
the answers right now, which is hard for someone like me
Yeah.
to just accept and say, slow down. Like, it's gonna be fine. It's really hard, but I know it's exactly what I need to do right now and
Mm-hmm.
not have an answer, and that's okay. And just trust
Yeah.
that,
Trust.
you know,
Yes. Trust and stay in this energy of the knowing,
yeah,
because that's the one that supports you in choosing and in staying in integrity with who you are.
hmm yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Life is fun.
Yes.
It's
It's
a ride.
beautiful.
I wouldn't
Yes.
say fun. I would say it's a ride, right? It's definitely a ride.
It's a ride, but for me, it's beautiful, beautiful
hmm
because yeah, our the ups and downs and everything they show us so much about how powerful we are and our true potential, the
Yeah.
beauty we have within each of us, It's not that I'm looking at me and I see myself. No, it's that I see myself and I see you and I see your true potential. I see your capacity. I see you, that you will be going to the peak, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I know it's this year has had just a really weird, bizarre
Mhm.
energy. It's like almost like I feel like it's like the Twilight Zone, but I felt like the last few years have been like this. It's just been
Mhm.
like all kinds of the world is just a different place
Yes.
in the last few years, and some of the realities that we're dealing with, and it's like you when you start to accept, the reality of what we're living in, and then you're like, okay, well, I can change. I can't change the world. I can't change what's going on everywhere, but I can't change my own reality. And what are the
Yes.
things that I can control,
Yeah.
and so it's been just I call it a season of unlearning.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Really, to be able to share with you and for us to do it more times also, but not
Yes.
necessarily recording and
Yeah.
co-creating, but in this podcast. But um, I'm here for you for whatever you need, and harmony. You will be in harmony.
Harmony. Yes. Yes. You are the one that helped me get clear on the word. So you're going to be in my mind a lot. Every time I say the word harmony, I'm going to be thinking about it, right? Like, so there you go. Pay it forward. That's what you just did, right? You just paid it forward. So thank you for that. I
Mm,
appreciate it.
Thank you. Stay well, and all the best
Thank you.
for this new year and for everything that is to come, because it will be amazing. We will see. Love you, my friend.
Thank you so much.